Get him out. It's okay. Oh, it's the same guy. The same guy with the cowboy hat. He's got a cowboy hat. I love the cowboy hats, but I like the Make America Great hats too. Hey. You know, the protester just gave me an idea. We'll say, Make America Great Again on a cowboy hat, right? Where are my people?
The poet Maya Angelou put it best. History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. There is no debate that we are politically living in a time that history will record as being racked by wrenching pain. The kind that is, while we witness tearing this country apart, a history that, no matter what retrospect will ask of us, cannot be unlived. We're at the point where, as a nation, we are going to find out the level of courage we have. Courage in facing the decisions before us and proving to us the courage of those who seek to lead. The courage in deciding whom we vote for, why we vote for them. And if those candidates have the courage to prove they are worthy of our vote, despite what we see at the moment is little more than an individual we would rather cast into the fire of history than allow to shine in the light of leadership. Your phone calls are important to what we do here. Get on the line right now. Be ready with an opinion. Become part of the conversation at 1-877-Newsmax, 1-877-639-7629. Welcome back, veteran Republican strategist and professor at Georgetown University, Bradley Blakeman. Bradley, always a pleasure, my friend. Let's get right to it here, and let's talk about courage. Donald Trump and his followers are going to need some courage right now, because when you look at the poll numbers, he is in what everybody who knows anything about politics is calling an historic hole that he has dug himself out of. All right, let's be honest. It's early. There's a long way to go. So how then, from a strategic standpoint, Bradley, does he dig himself out of this, or at least get started?
Trump has to do a 180, and that's going to be very hard for him to do. He needs to unite the party. We only have 30 days till our convention, and we're still a very dysfunctional, split party. We have governors coming out. We have former candidates saying they're going back on their pledge. They won't support Donald Trump. And it's really up to Donald Trump to unite the party. He is the standard bearer now, the presumptive nominee, and he's got a lot of work to do. But, you know, he can't waste a minute. He's got to unite the party. He's got to raise money. He's got to come out with policies. He's got to let people know where he stands for in more depth and scope than mere sound bites. So if he does that, I think he'll fare very well in November. If he doesn't, then he's going to be in a very deep, dark hole.
And of course, when you talk about sound bites, now you have everybody is teeing off on Donald Trump at this point because, quite frankly, he gives them a tremendous amount of ammunition. Those numbers so low. Seth Meyers on late night NBC offered a theory and a solution to Trump's situation. Here's what he said.
Some people think Donald Trump doesn't actually want to be president. Now that he's actually succeeding, he's trying to undermine his own campaign so that he'll lose. If you drop out of the presidential race anytime between now and the beginning of the GOP convention on July 18th, NBC will award you a 13-episode scripted series where you would play the President of the United States of America. You'd still get to be President of the United States, but on TV.
Got to be very appealing to some people here. Bradley, here's a question. I know we've asked this before, but is it just possible that at this point in time, Donald Trump doesn't want to really become president? And hear me out on this. His entire career, he's made his own decisions. He's done things his own way. He doesn't have to ask anybody's permission or anybody's money. He's done it all. But now he has got to have people helping him. He has got to have the RNC in his side. Yet he doesn't want to. He doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't need it. Is it just frighteningly 1% of 1% possible that deep down inside, he really doesn't want to be president?
No, I think he wants to be president, but he wants to do it his way. Unfortunately, he did it his way in getting the nomination, or fortunately for him, but unfortunately because now he's stuck in the mindset that because he ran such an unorthodox primary campaign, that can translate into a general election. Hillary Clinton's going to raise upwards of $2 billion between not only her own efforts, the DNC.
I want you to stop right there for 1 second. 1 sec, because you're right on something I want to get to here. That ground game. Hillary Clinton is already moving to get big media in 8 different states. She's got a tremendous amount of money, a huge ground game. And here's the other thing, Brad. There are people out there who say Trump's numbers are so negative and so bad, but Hillary's aren't really that great. But for whatever reason, she's somebody who can remake her image. She has a better opportunity to grab America and make herself appear better. Is that possible? Okay, we've lost Bradley, unfortunately. We got to go ahead and try and get him back. But there's the question here. Is it possible that Trump can fix his negatives? Let's go to the phones. 1-877-Newsmax. 1-877-Newsmax. Dan's in Arizona. Dan, do you believe Donald Trump can or cannot fix all these negatives?
Danny, you mean?
Okay, that's all it is. Danny, go ahead.
All right. At this point, I would have to say that right now, the way things have been going and the way he's been, his campaign and the way he's been talking, actually, and the way he keeps trying to explain, that everything that I guess people have been criticizing him for, I mean, I can't help but, wonder, is this true? I mean, does he really, know what he's getting himself into?
Let me ask you this much, Danny. Are you a Trump supporter?
Not really.
Okay, well, then that comes from the negative side because we want to hit all sides here. Danny, thank you so much for your time. Tim is in Frederick, Maryland. Tim, I believe that you do think that Donald Trump can overcome those negatives. Bradley Blakeman is back with us. So, Tim, go ahead and tell us how he overcomes. Make it 30 seconds. Stay on point.
I think it's time that the real Americans of this country stand up behind Donald Trump and take up their Second Amendment rights.
Okay, that's not the point here, Tim. I'm going to stop you. Tim, I'm going to stop you because we want to talk about Donald Trump. I understand all this. How do you believe Donald Trump can overcome his negatives? How can he do it?
Correct.
Tim, how can he do it?
By the real Americans standing up and going with him. We don't need all the Republicans to stand behind Donald Trump. The Americans need to stand behind Donald Trump. The Americans, the real Americans in this country, is what put this country where it's at.
Okay, Tim, thank you very much for your call. We appreciate that at 1-877-Newsmax. Brad, when we look at this right now, let me get back to the question I had for you before we got disconnected here. The people who are out there looking at these numbers say that Hillary Clinton, despite the fact that she has monstrously negative numbers as well, not as much as Donald Trump, they say that she actually can repair this image and she can make herself shine a lot better. How's that possible?
Well, look, if she's cleared by the FBI after a year's investigation and 100 FBI agents working on her, she would have beat the vast right-wing conspiracy she's been complaining about for 30 years. And quite frankly, if she beats this rap, she's going to be unbeatable, in my opinion, because she's going to have the wind at her back. She is going to unite her party. There's no question. She made her deal with Bernie. Bernie's going to be treated well at the convention. They're going to throw him a bone on the platform, on the Rules Committee, and they're going to be in much better shape than we are going into their convention. So if Hillary's cleared, I think she's got a clear path to the victory in November. But if she's not, then we've got a whole different situation.
Brad, do you agree with those people who say that Newt Gingrich is the obvious and the best choice for Donald Trump as vice president, and that's the only one that he should be considering?
I do not. I think Newt Gingrich would be a much better chief of staff to Donald Trump, because if anybody knows the White House, the chief of staff is, in effect, the prime minister of America, has got so much more power and access and influence on the president than a vice president. That, to me, would be the perfect role for Newt Gingrich. Plus, Newt Gingrich doesn't get you an electoral state.
All right, let me go ahead real quick, get one more call in here. Bruce in Stamford, Vermont on the hard line. Now, Bruce, 30 seconds. You say Trump can overcome his negatives. Tell us how he does it.
Okay. What he does is, first of all, declare war on ISIS and on the Taliban.
But he's not the president. He's already said that he'll go after ISIS. He's already said that.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. You've got to declare and notify them. Then all your people that the FBI is looking at, they can become combatants. They are in coercion with them. They can be arrested for being with them.
It is an interesting idea indeed. Unfortunately, we are all out of time. Bradley, we're going to be talking about this for quite some time here. Donald Trump's got a long way to go. He's got to dig himself out of that hole. And unfortunately for the GOP, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats may just take advantage of it. It is not what the GOP and the conservatives want to hear. Brad, always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. The ripple effect of what might be considered a palace coup against President Barack Obama. We're going to get all this and a whole lot more inside the Beltway and your phone calls when we continue right here on the Hardline.